Aloha, Sandra here. This class is going to build a little bit on the class that was about accessing the belly and move a little quicker. So we're going to start lying down. So come to a comfortable position, and if you're part of the extra curvy club and you're lying down, go ahead and get some wedges, put under the concavexities, and just take a moment here. To exhale. Put everything else out of the way. Take your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, lengthen your neck a little as you reach your elbows away from each other. Exhale. Take your hands onto your lower belly. Notice that you're breathing. Now, just as a way to engage, to access the belly a little bit, we're going to do the grazing the grass, where the next time you exhale, take a little weight off of your left foot. Do not put any extra weight on your right foot. It's going to wake up some of the muscles there. Consider the possibility as you do this that your hip points move towards each other. You might feel a little bit then lower a little more. That helps activate some pelvic floor movement. Still breathe, but you won't be breathing as much in the belly. You'll breathe a little more in the rib cage. And let go. And then second side. Take the right foot, take the weight out of the right foot, even though the right foot's still touching the ground. Don't put any more pressure into the left foot. Encourage your hip points to move towards each other. Breathe. All right, one more time each side. So lift the left foot a little bit. Encourage your breath to come into the sides of the rib cage. That way the belly's going to stay stable. There isn't one right way to breathe. Many different ways to breathe depending what position we're in and what we're doing. Relaxed breathing is very different than if you're sprinting. All right, second side. Right foot a little bit. Wake up the belly. Hip points come towards each other. And then release. Now, keeping your pelvis where it is, keeping the back where it is. On your exhalation, lift your left leg so your thigh comes perpendicular to the floor. And then do the same thing with the right. Holding both legs there. Take your hands to your thighs, press your hands into your thighs, thighs into your hands. Stay stable here. So the more you press into this, the more challenging it's going to be for the belly. You can choose to press lightly, you can choose to press strongly. You might, again, encourage the hip points to come towards each other. And then let go. Whew, okay, and a little tetrasana. Tetrasana your way up to sitting. So the belly got a little awake. Now let's move it a little bit more. Come into a twist, get a little height to sit on. Take your left leg outside the right thigh, right leg on the other side. Take your hand to your knee, nice inhalation. On your exhalation, spiral to the left. You can wrap the right arm around the left knee. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, spiral. Taking your time. Maybe take the left arm to the other side of the thigh, or the right arm, sorry. Focusing on getting the twist right through the belly, right? It's coming up into your shoulders, into your neck, into your head. That's good too, but take the time to feel into the belly. One more inhalation. On the exhalation, unwind and shift the legs. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, spiral, wrap the arm around. One more inhalation. On the exhalation, unwind. Roll your shoulders a few times. And then grab 2 blocks. Let's come back to a little more belly activation. Come onto your hands and knees. Those of you who watched the belly axis, I think that's what I called it, you may notice these blocks are a little lower than the other blocks. The blocks I was using before for this are a little too thick for me. I find this is a good height, so it makes it so my spine is parallel to the ground. You can see that if I am not on the blocks, I'm at a little bit of an angle towards the ground, which if I would be standing, that would mean I'd be wouldn't be standing upright. So I like practicing often with the blocks like this. So a little more spinal access, belly access. So next time you exhale, do not move your pelvis, do not move your hips, do not move your legs, just bend your left elbow, keep everything else stable. You're going to need to wake up the center to stabilize here. And then place the right arm on down, do the same thing with the left hand, obviously the switch hands. Right arm comes up. Okay, we're going to do this again. If you found that pretty challenging, just stay with the hands. Otherwise, move the 1 block. So left hand, right leg. Plays with the balance. More challenging. Try to keep the left thigh perpendicular to the ground. It's easy to feel it begin to shift over to the side. And then release. Let's go to the other side. Lift the right hand. Balance with the left leg. Off the ground. Whee! All right, and release. Take a downward facing dog. Lift your heels as high as they will go. Take your sit bones up and back. Lower your heels. Breathe. And then let's bend the knees. Walk your hands a little further forward. Take your shoulders, blades down the back, and slowly lower down. As you lower down, keep your lower ribs and hip points in the same line with each other. So don't sag in the lower back. So all that belly waking up we did can benefit us here. Go ahead and extend your arms straight out. Press down with the palms, lift up with the chest a little. Lengthen here. So we're waking up some of the muscles in the upper back. Hands pressed down. Sternum lifts. Continue to breathe. Go ahead, lower your head, turn your palms to face each other. Press down with the pinky finger. Lift back up. And then bring your palms down on the floor and very slowly walk your elbows backwards. Press down with the forearms. Lift the chest, lengthen forward. So in a little bit of a Sphinx pose. Lower down a little bit. Draw the shoulder blades towards each other and then down your back. Press down with the forearms. Lengthen the chest forward to lift your head. So try not to create too much of a curve in the lumbar, although the lumbar does bend easier than the mid-back, so you will see in me more engagement there, more extension, more activation there, but I'm working at truly trying to get that extension in the muscles, in the vertebrae of the mid-spine. Not easy. Easier said than done. All right, release on down. And rest your forehead on your right hand. Bend your left knee. Take a hold of the ankle. If you can't reach the ankle, grab a strap. And just lengthen the thigh. As you lengthen the thigh, press down with the forearm. Lengthen your belly forward. Lift the chest just a little bit. And then release. Same thing, second side. Take the left hand under your head. Bend the right knee. Lift your head up a little bit. I'm lifting more so you can hear me. You can rest your forehead on your hand, but you can also lift it up. Lengthen through the top of the thigh. Encourage the thigh to lengthen straight back. There's a tendency to want to take the thigh out to the side. So encourage it to lengthen back. We're going to come back to the first side, so release that. Switch arms again. Bend your right knee again, left knee. Again, take your strap if you need to, if you don't easily reach your ankle. Now this time, press down with your forearm a little bit more as you lengthen the thigh. So this is in many ways, a full body stretch. You can be on gecko alert as we go through this practice. I just saw one run past, a nice green one. Today I've seen two different kinds. They're both green, but one has like a big stripe down the center of its spine. And the other one has like red and yellow and orange spots. That one's really gorgeous. Release. Take a moment. Second side. So left hand under head, under forehead. Bend your right knee. Go ahead and reach for that. Lengthen the thigh as you lift the sternum. Good. And then release. And rock the sacrum a little side to side. One more time. Reach your arms long, forehead on the floor. And then bend your elbows by your side. Hug the elbows in towards each other. Bend your knees. Now we're going to straighten the arms, and as you do so, be careful to keep the center stable. By that I mean do not sag your back. It's not that easy, so if you only get up part of the way, that's okay. Take a nice inhalation. As you exhale, lift up. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I used to see this all the time, especially in vinyasa classes, where people would come up, but they do something like this. And you can see all the pressure, it comes into the lower back, and then they come back up. So the intention is to do it in one movement. Inhale, exhale. One movement, keeping this area stable. All right, and then let's take a few hip circles. 3 to the left. And 3 to the right. And then downward facing dog. Make the necessary wardrobe adjustments. So once you're here, walk your right foot over to your left foot and lift the left leg straight up in the air. Keep the hips even with each other. Just have that opportunity there. And then place the left foot down next to the right. Lift the right leg up. To wake up a little and release down. Now let's do this with a little more attention to what's going on in the center of the body. So let's this time keep the feet hips distance apart, and then you're going to need to root down with the hands. Lift your left leg up, and as you root down with the hands, encourage your hips to stay even with each other. You're going to need to use the center of your body a little bit more now. Release, and second side. Release. Good, and then your choice. Either stay in dog pose or take a child's pose. Wherever you are, breathe. Breathe into your belly. If you're especially in dog pose, you can have a nice expansive belly. If you're in child's pose, a long exhalation. Both of those are just the intention of creating movement in the belly. For those of you in child's pose, make your way back up, and we're all going to meet in a plank position. So let's build this plank with the center in mind. So just like I mentioned before about not sagging in the middle, same thing here. You want to avoid this kind of thing. You want to have kind of a long line from the center. Reach through your heels. It really helps doing that from the shoulder blades. Press the thighs up, the thigh bones, not your hips, just the thigh bones. And breathe. Extra challenge if you want. Bend your elbows directly back. If you do that, shift your weight a little forward so you don't put pressure in your rotator cuff. You might find yourself shaking a little here. All right, and then back into downward facing dog. And child's pose. Inhale, come up to sitting. We're going to do a little bit more with plank. So before we do that, let's do a little play with the wrist. So go ahead and take your left arm up so the elbow is the same height as your shoulder. Turn your palm to face up. So this is a little forearm stretch, which is good for the wrist. Take your one finger to your fifth finger. Notice if there's resistance there. Don't overdo, just a gentle stretch here. Fourth finger. Keep your shoulder blade down your back as you do this. Third finger. And second finger. So for me, that's the one where I feel it the most today. It varies. It's interesting for me. It does vary. Release that. I feel that in the shoulder. Roll the left shoulder around. And then second side. Take your right hand up. If you can, I'll make it easier to see. Maybe I think that shadow is in the way. So you take your finger to the finger. Keep the elbow up as much as possible. Fourth finger. Third finger. If you're wondering why the backdrop is there, because it is beautiful behind it. If I were to take it down, it'd be even harder to see me. And first finger. So on this side, I found, I'm going to go back to the third finger. That's the one that I feel more. All right, release that. And then circle your wrists a few times one direction. Switch directions. Take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, lift your arms up, draw your chin towards your chest. All right, and then make your way back into downward facing dog, however you want to get there. And then from here, come into plank. We're going to build that plank again to build the belly. So this time you could choose to stay here, just in plank. You can choose to bend your elbows backwards, or you can choose to take your left knee to your left elbow and hold for a certain number of seconds to still be determined. I'm thinking like 15 seconds, which means we've got 5 more to go. All right, and then bring it into downward facing dog. Same thing, second side, come to plank. And then bring your right knee towards your right elbow. So we're going to hold it for 15 seconds. You can count or not. We've got 2 more seconds. All right, back into downward facing dog. So that's a nice way to play with plank to wake up the belly. If you had enough, take child's pose. Otherwise, I invite you to do it again. And the other option is, of course, you can go from all fours to plank. You don't have to go back into downward facing dog. Let's come back to plank, however you get there. And hold. Notice if one side is easier than the other. Does your back leg get sleepy because you forget about it? All right, back into dog pose or all fours. One more side. Right knee, right elbow. And release. Good. All right, child's pose. Come back on up. This time sit on your shins if that works for you. Otherwise, come into cross-legged and take a gentle twist to your left. Take the left hand, the right side of your navel, spiral to your left. Right hand comes to left knee, left hand comes behind your back. Just taking the time to spiral in the belly. Exhale back to center. Second side, right hand to left side of the navel, left hand on the knee, right hand behind your back. One more inhalation. On the exhalation, unwind. I'm going to do one more series of those strengtheners from plank. I haven't done them for a while, so I'm happy. Thank you for inspiring me to do them again. Sometimes I forget about things for a while and then come back and realize, oh, I should have been doing this, or I'm really happy to do this again, or this is harder than I remember because I haven't done it for a while. All right, so from plank, next step is knee to opposite elbow. So keep the long reach to the right leg, take your left knee to your right elbow, or towards your right elbow. And breathe. All right, that's almost 15 seconds. What happened to the back leg? Mine got sleepy. All right, release. Take a moment. And second side. Come to plank. Right knee towards left elbow. And release. Okay, from here, take a glorious, luxurious downward facing dog or child's pose. Any movements that feel appropriate for you. And then one more plank. One more plank. Shoulders over wrists. Your choice. Maybe bend the elbows. Maybe just hang out here. Press the thighs up. Breathe. And then downward facing dog. Just to get that length in your spine. And then bring your feet forward between your hands or towards your hands. Bend your knees. Let your spine release. Exhale through the jaw. Let your belly hollow a little. Move towards straightening your legs. Maybe they straighten all the way, maybe not. But you let your spine continue to roll forward. And then listen to your spine. If you have a rather significant scoliosis or osteoporosis, don't do the next thing. I'm going to roll up the spine slowly. You can also bring your hands to your sacrum and come up to standing. That's the other option. Otherwise, take your time to roll up. I don't do this very often, but sometimes it feels really good. For those of us extra curvy people out there, right? Some people say never do certain movements. I don't advocate that. I just advocate doing them in moderation, some of them. Okay, mountain pose. Let's bring the hands on the belly first. Remember, it's there. It's awake. It's alive, vibrant. Bring your hips over your heels. Take your arms by your side. Encourage lower ribs, hip points, and pubic bone to be in line with each other. So sometimes when you do this, when you actually get that alignment, you may feel some belly activation. My tendency is to be a little over tucked, so I have to remember to get my pubic bone in line with the hip points and the lower ribs. So now, that was hips, feet apart. Let's go ahead and bring feet together. Right? This is classic mountain pose, but it's actually very different than having your feet a little wider. If you have lower back problems, I don't recommend it with the feet together. Right, and then go ahead and close your eyes. Now you can choose this next thing, we do a little balance practice. You can either have your feet together or apart. Together is more challenging. Take your hands onto your belly and shift your weight forward. So the shifting is really an ankle shift. Your feet are staying grounded, your spine stays long, you come forward as if you were planted in the ground. Your feet are planted in the ground, everything else sways forward. And then go the other direction, go back. You won't be able to go probably nearly as far back. You might find you don't go much further back than the hips over the heels. But as you go back a little further, can you find your belly? Something you might want to try, and if you have something within reach, is just to hold on to something. Like if you have a ledge or something you can hold on to, so that you can practice going back a little further than you normally would, and get a sense of that, how much you can activate the belly a little, like we did when we were doing the grazing the grass. You're not tending to squeeze really hard. You're just saying, okay, my belly's waking up. It's part of the activity of keeping me balanced, keeping me upright. Okay? Because our bellies play a role in balance. If we don't have strength in the center, it's really hard to reach in a lot of different directions. Okay, so we went forward and back. Let's go diagonally to the left. So shift your weight diagonally to the left. So you're a little uneven on the sides here. They have to work differently. Eyes open or closed, your choice. Diagonally back to the right. So we're doing that diagonal. And then go back and forth. Front, left, and back right. Oh. All right, and then switch directions. Go front, right, hold, and back, left. Again, front, right, and back, left. Go back and forth between the two. And then come back to center. Gently guide your breath. I think it's time for some hip circles. Take your feet a little wider and circle around. I think I chose my left, which is your right. Whatever direction you chose, notice. And let's go the other way. Come back to center, take your feet wide. Time to get a little more movement in the hips. Big asana, arms wide, legs wide. Roll your arms so your palms face up towards the ceiling. Then bend your elbows. Turn to look over the right. Back to center, turn to look over to the left. Back to center. Bring your hands onto your hips. If it works for you, turn your heels in, your toes out, and let's bend the knees. Play with the balance here. Maybe go down as low as thighs parallel to the floor. Root down with the feet, come back up, turn your right leg in, turn your left leg out a little more, and then let's come into warrior two. Bend the front knee, take your arms on up, reach long through the arms, look out over your left hand. Sorry, I got the sides a little mixed up. Come back up, Bring your palms together. Let's go over the other side. Come back up, left leg, whatever leg forward, and hinge forward. Bring your hands onto the ground or onto your blocks. And then come back up, walk your feet together. Come back to mountain pose. Feet all the way together or hips distance apart, your choice. Your choice, eyes open or closed. Let's create a little circle around the ankles. So now we're circling around, encouraging your whole spine to stay long as you circle. So your feet are going to need to work, your belly's going to need to work. And then switch directions. Good. Okay, release that and grab your blocks. And let's take the legs wide. Take your blocks if they're not too heavy. Reach them out. All right, and then hinge forward. Bring your hands on down. And begin to side bend a little. Start by bending the left knee. Keep the feet parallel. Right now, you won't be able to go very far with your feet parallel, but still keep them parallel, going side to side. And then you can maybe walk the blocks as you go. So right now I'm keeping my feet on the ground, which is creating for me, I feel the tension a little more in my inner thighs. You may feel in the outer ankles as well. One more time each side with the feet grounding. Now the next time you go over to the left, let your feet turn a little, lift the toes of the right side. So you'll be able to go down a little bit. You may find that your left foot turns out. You can let that happen, and if you do that, you might find you go down pretty far. Be careful, I just went down faster than I wanted to. Ooh, and then come back up. And then go the other side. Going slowly, little control. Yeah. The other heel, the heel of the leg you're bending might also lift a little. And let that happen. Use the blocks to press yourself back up. One more time each side. So bending the left knee, reach through the right leg. Lift up, bend the right knee, reach through the left leg. Come back up. From here, walk your hands out. Just get to lengthen your spine again. And then walk your hands back. Turn your right leg in and your left leg out. Walk the blocks over. Come into a lunge. So you're in a lunge position. We've been doing a lot with the belly, so let's spiral the belly a little here. Take the block that's under your right hand to the big toe side of your left foot. Spiral your spine open. Long reach through the back leg. Maybe take your left arm up into the air. One more inhalation. Exhale, unwind. We'll go the other direction. Walk yourself to the lunge onto the right. Reach long through the left leg. Block that's under your left hand. Bring to the big toe side of your right foot as you spiral. Open to the right. Maybe take your right arm up, maybe not. Listen to your body. All right, and then from here, go ahead and unwind. Come back to the lunge and We're going to go right into a plank position. Not going to go back to center. Come back into plank. If you're ready for child's pose, take child's pose. Otherwise, another opportunity to bring your elbow to the knee. You choose this time. Elbow to opposite knee or elbow to same knee for 15 seconds. And I actually have a clock where it has seconds on it, so I think I'm being accurate if I looked at it correctly, which I think I did. Okay, just a few more seconds. Release. Take a moment in dog pose. And second side. I find this is a really nice way to wake up the lower belly. All right, and downward facing dog. And either stay here or come into child's pose, your choice. All right, when you've come out of child's pose, make your way up to standing. You can choose to get up like we did earlier or stand right on up like we did earlier. Would mean tuck your toes under, lift your knees up. Bring your heels towards the floor so your spine rounds, and then slowly round up. Feel the belly as part of that lifting up. Let's roll the shoulders a few times. So I talked about the belly being integral for balance. We've done a lot to wake it up. It might be a little tired by now, but let's play with Vrikshasana tree pose. So go ahead and bend your left knee, spiral your thigh, take your foot below or above your knee, foot into leg, leg into foot, lengthen up, palms together. Press the foot into the leg, leg into the foot. And then release, a little shake, a little shimmy. And second side, bend the right knee, spiral the thigh. Below or above the knee of the leg. And then release. Find your block. One block now is all you need. Take your legs wide. So another balancing pose is half moon. And half moon requires actually a lot of foot and hip mobility. And that's where a big part of the balance comes from. But also balance comes from the belly. So I know I've done a number of other classes having to do with the connection between the feet and the hips and balance. You can find those in other Patreon classes. But now I want us to also think about the belly as we do this. So right leg in, left leg out. I'm going to bend the front knee. Take the block with you as you shift your weight. And lift the right leg up. And then spiral from the belly. You might shift your weight a little forward and back over the foot to find that sweet spot. There's differences of opinions if the leg stays in line with the hip or the leg goes up. Today I'm going to have it be a little higher as I spiral through the belly and take the right arm up. Now when you come down, pay attention to how you come down. Sometimes we just fall, that's okay, but we can work towards bending the front knee, slowly lowering the leg, then come back up, other side. Left leg in, right leg out, legs wide enough, bend the front knee, shift your weight, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. And then to release, slowly bend the knee. Come back on up. If you have your block with you, legs wide. Take the block out far. Nice long spine. And you can choose to stay here or let your spine release. Take your feet wider if that's appropriate for you. I'm going to stay up today. That's what my body needs, or it's best for my body. Okay, and then when you're ready to come up, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, come up. Bring your feet towards each other. Take a moment, mountain pose. Rest your hands on your lower belly and shift your weight back, hips over heels, as far back as you can without gripping in the jaw. Encourage the quads to be soft. It's hard to let go of them when you do this. Take the time to breathe. And then bring some flow. Flow your way down to the ground. Have your block within reach. We're going to do a little bit more here with the belly, but not so much strengthening as allowing to release. Healthy belly is one that can engage and release and be happy in both of those positions and all the places in between. So what I'd like you to do is to lift your pelvis up, slide the block under your sacrum. This is not bridge pose. A little different. Position the block so it's right at the ridge of your sacrum, so your hip points face in the direction of your ribs, more so the direction of your shoulders, so there's a little downward tilt. And you might feel a little hollowing or something in the lower belly when you do that. And then you can experiment. This might be good, or if it feels good to extend the legs, go ahead and do that. Let them be relaxed. If that puts any pressure at all, do not. Please, no pressure at all. No hint of tightness or discomfort. Legs straight with the legs straight. Otherwise, keep the knees bent if it doesn't work for you at all. Of course, just lie flat on the floor. Take a little time here with your breath. All right, and then roll your thighs towards each other, bend your knees. Go ahead and release the block and place it between your knees. We'll do a twist before Shavasana. So lift your hips up, shift them over to the right, and take your knees to the left. Upper body spirals to the right, so you take your time to let yourself feel a full twist. And then bring your left leg up to unwind. And second side. Shift your hips to the left. Take your knees to the right. Breathe. And then inhale your knees up. Put the block off to the side. Extend your legs. Arms by your side. Close your eyes. Watch your breath. And let the breath guide you to Shavasana, to relaxation. And then, slowly and gently, bring your awareness back to your body, back to your breath. Bring a little movement to your fingers, to your toes. Reach a little through your arms, reach a little through your legs. And then bend one knee at a time, roll over to your side. make your way back up to sitting. Bring our palms together over our hearts. May our connection to our center support us to be stable on the inside and allow us to expand in whatever directions we want. Namaste. Thanks for joining me. I know this class was a little more vigorous than ones I've been doing lately, and that's good from my practice. Let me know if that's good for you, if you'd like more of that. And till next time, aloha.